Shotgun. Takes the snap, drops back. At the Jet 25-yard line, looks downfield, heaves a bomb down the right sideline. Corey Davis behind the defense, he's going to score! Here is the Jet onside kick try. Braden Mann bunts it left. It takes a hop, gets to the sideline. It's loose! There's a scramble for it. The Jets think they have it! They do! Flacco takes the shotgun snap and drops. Looks up the seam, fires, caught! Touchdown! Garrett Wilson scores! Out of the hold of Braden Mann. The placement down. The kick on the way. Down the middle and good. Brissett fires one up the seam. Intercepted by Ashton Davis. And that'll do it. Ashton Davis takes a knee. And the Jets will win it here in Cleveland.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Just Enough to Suffer. That is a New York Jets victory. This is a Jets reaction pod. We are here. We're back. Coming off of an unbelievable win against the Cleveland Browns. I'm here with Greg. We will have Jay jumping in a little bit to share his thoughts. 2 of the 3 people on this show picked the Jets to win on Sunday. 1 person did not. So I'm going to pass it over to him to share his thoughts.
All right. Well, first off, what a day. And I mean, just the fact that, like, the Jets battled the way that they did, but also on my front, I battled just as hard as they did to come back with the whole Sunday ticket shit that happened. I mean, it was a complete clusterfuck on that end. It was out basically, middle of the second quarter through midway through the fourth quarter. I think I went through allegedly 35 other streams on the internet.
Allegedly, not allegedly. Definitely. Yeah.
No, allegedly. Go through those streams. I finally got it back in the fourth quarter, just to see the drive where they punted inside their own, 15-10. And then it kind of got weird, right? Because when Cleveland was driving down to score that touchdown that ultimately put them up by 13, it was deflating, but it was also like, they're not playing this really to like win it. They want to score, because Hunt went out like 2 or 3 times out of bounds and saved a couple seconds off the clock. Chubb gets in there. And then, the Davis touchdown, you're like, all right, so we're going to have an onside kick. You're kind of just, for me, I was more so just like, just please recover it. If they lose, cool, but like, just recover it and give me something. And then they recover it. And then you kind of look at the time. They're kind of at like the 50-ish yard line. You got 1:20 left, no timeouts. But then they're up at they're just methodically moving the ball down the field. Cleveland's giving them everything that they want underneath. And the Jets were taking it. And next thing you know, we're at the 30-something yard line with 45 seconds left. And then I'm kind of like, oh, shit. There's a chance. And on that third down, the Wilson touchdown, I could see it happening before the play went off. You saw the split safeties up top. I'm going to say, hey, if they're going to get this, Garrett's going to have to get uncovered by this defender, and Flacco's going to have to hit him. And lo and behold, we had it. Garrett Wilson right down the seam, touchdown, yelling at the stupid blonde 14-year-old right in his face. It was awesome.
Sucks to be that kid.
Yeah. I mean, that kid's a loser, an absolute loser. Him and Brownie the Elf, absolute losers. You can't even show their faces in the Cleveland Stadium ever again. Garrett Wilson, replace Brownie the Elf with Garrett Wilson at the midfield logo is what I say.
I kind of like that concept. I like that concept. Look, I think we're both going to come in here extremely hot. This team has been dying for a win. I've been dying for a win, for a September win for 3-4 years at this point. It feels like 2018 is the last time we won. The last time we won a game in September is Sam Darnold's rookie year. So it's been a hot minute here. I want to point out a couple different things. The number one thing I want to take away from this game, and I wish I would have tweeted it out during the game, I've never felt it's been a long time since I've felt like the Jets can win a game no matter what. It was, I forget what it was, 17. I forget the score of the game. We were down by 1 score, typical game where the Jets lose. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, it's 1st and 15. Oh, it was the drive where we went all the way down and then committed the penalty down in the end and came away with nothing. Where it was 1st and 10, big run, hold. 1st and 10, big run, offensive pass interference, false start, blah, blah, blah. We just kept getting stopped and we kept coming back. And that was like a real moment for me where I was like, oh, like there's something happening here where Flacco has his limitations for sure. He also knows how to get the ball to where it needs to be, given the right circumstances. The offensive line was great, especially in the second half today. It gave a lot of opportunities for people like Garrett and Elijah and Tyler Conklin, despite a couple drops, to like really get open and like make some plays on the field. So those are I'm a little scatterbrained right now because I'm super fired up, but I think my number one takeaway is Garrett Wilson is a wide receiver 1. And there's a lot of that could be like hyperbole coming out of the game. And we're feeling hot because he just came off 8 for 110 or whatever the hell he came away with. But he's a game-changing wide receiver for this team. I don't think the Jets have ever had a wide receiver like this in my entire life. And that opens up a lot of opportunities. So when Garrett's back, when Elijah's back, this is my biggest takeaways from this game today was Garrett Wilson amazing. What an unbelievable win. And I'm not always the number one biggest Zach Wilson supporter in the world, but when you get Zach's mobility with Breece Hall, Michael Carter, Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, Braxton Berrios, Tyler Conklin, like there's an unlimited number of opportunities for this offense. LaFleur was calling plays today that made no sense to me whatsoever. There was a they ran 2 reverses in one series, first to Braxton and then the one to Elijah. It didn't work, but I was like, I've never seen 2 reverses in the same series before in my entire life. There's just so many opportunities with this team. I'm so happy. And we can talk about Saleh's quotes after the game. The media was trying to bait him with the receipts thing. The team has been putting out unbelievable content. There's a picture that Mike Carter, the meme Mike Carter posted to Chris Jericho from WCW with the list and Saleh's face. Unbelievable. The video of Garrett Wilson scoring a touchdown and then, like you said, yelling at some kid's face and saying, I do this shit.
Yeah.
And doing OH right in the kid's mouth is just unbelievable stuff.
That kid's going to go to school tomorrow and get absolutely stuffed in a locker. I can't wait.
Wow, what a comment from Jay here. I turned 43 this week. Happy birthday, Jay. The Jets haven't won a September game since I was in my 30s. That's a funny thing to think about. So, we can take this a million different places, Greg. I think if you want to talk about some things to build on coming out of the game, I think the defense has a lot of work to do. That kind of gets excused away now that we came away with the win. Yeah. But I don't know how many points we gave up today to Jacoby Brissett, but it seemed like they could do pretty much anything they wanted whenever they wanted on offense throughout the game, outside of a couple plays here and there. Nick Chubb dominated us. Arm tackling is a serious problem, but that doesn't matter. It's not about that. It's not about nothing to worry about today. It's all positive vibes. It's all great stuff. I'm feeling really good.
Yeah. I mean, I texted you guys this morning that this is totally setting up for the Jets offense to be really good. And then the defense to totally let them down, just the way that I think the entire week. I mean, we even talked about it. The defense was really, really good last week. And I mean, the offense was the focal point of every jab, quote, whatever you want to call it this week, from the media, from us, from quite literally everybody. So it just kind of felt that was going to be the way this game went, was the offense was going to be clicking more and the defense was going to be the one that was kind of lagging behind. But no, I'm with you, man. I mean, we kind of really saw what this offense can be when LaFleur is on point and the quarterback's making the throws and the offensive line is
standing up.
Exactly. That's the stuff
Clowney going out changed his whole game.
Mm-hmm. And that's
Clowney
something.
Left the game, our offense completely shifted.
And that's something that the Jets have. When's the last time they've taken advantage of something like that? How many times does a good player go out and then it's just like, the Jets want to attack him and they've run the exact opposite way into Myles Garrett for 14 plays. It's shit like that. Yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff I think can wait for our later show for all the negatives. But I mean, just the way that the offense was clicking, there was a lot and the thing too, there was still some meat on the bone. I think Flacco missed a good amount of throws. Jay Feely is blind.
There's a lot to be excited about.
Yeah. I mean, Jay Feely is watching the game in Cleveland. I'm allegedly watching a stream from Taiwan, and there was a third down play where he's rolling out and throws it, and Jay Feely is like, yeah, nobody's open. There's 2 people wide open on the play. So those are plays where, hopefully a guy like Zach, who's much better throwing on the run, can get those kind of throws in there, and this offense can keep on humming. Yeah, man, the Jets needed a win like this because there's so many times where they get into these type of games and the ball just doesn't bounce their way.
It's what you said. It's like this is not the type of game that the Jets would typically win. And I think I was being positive heading into the game. So was Jay, but that's not a type of game that the Jets win coming off a loss that they just had. Like, let's call it what it is. They kind of got pushed up and down the field, pushed around the yard against the Ravens, and they came back and were like, hey, you want to run on us? Awesome. We're not going to be – they weren't awesome at stopping the run, but they held the pass in check for the most part. They came out on offense, and Joe Flacco was like, I'm 37 years old. I can't move a muscle. But guess what? My offensive line's going to work today. The run game's going to be working. Brees looked great. Michael Carter looked great as usual. And they were like, oh, wait, we have Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore. Let's focus on getting the ball to our playmakers. Again, exactly what we said. It's not exactly rocket science, right? It was like, oh, you have two very, 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 very strong playmakers on your team. Get the ball in their hand. Let them figure it out. And shockingly, it worked.
Yeah, shout out to Garrett Wilson for learning the offense in a week and being able to earn those extra targets this week.
Yeah.
Dumbest coach speak shit of all time.
Yeah, there will always be coach. I'm sure there'll be coach speak this week too, by the way. Like, that's not going to stop. Like, they're going to be talking about how Sauce kind of got baptized a little bit by Amari Cooper, as they'll explain that away in some form or fashion. And like, that's what coaches do, and that's fine. And we were
the funny thing is like the game kind of played out. Like I know you guys picked them to win, and then I ultimately picked them to lose. The game kind of played out the way I was explaining it.
100%.
I mean, Cleveland just wore them down, and then you saw. I mean, they got that 3-and-out, and they pushed them back 16 yards, kicked them out of field goal range before the Jets ultimately ended up punting. But you saw Hunt and Chubb just breaking them down in the fourth quarter, and that's one of those games
were doing the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like the game was never out of our hands, except for when they scored the second touchdown. They go up by 14 or 13 with a minute and a half left. It kind of seemed like the game was over. That was the first time it seemed like the game was over. And I was sitting there watching with our crew, and we were all saying, like, we haven't had a feeling like this in a really, really long time. Like, we're always in this game. And I think when Zach comes back, there will be things that happen. But when we're at our best, this is an offense now that is always in the game. And they're always one or two. We can compete. They're one or two plays away from breaking something crazy. The Corey Davis touchdown was obviously like a busted coverage and all that stuff, but like those kind of plays are going to be there for us. Garrett Wilson's like, hey, I'm going to run a deep post from the 13 and I'm going to score a touchdown every single time. Thank you. Like, who's going to beat Garrett Wilson like that?
And it's not one of those scenarios where Garrett Wilson is like far and away the best receiver on the roster, and the gap between him and number 2 is so substantial, right? Like, if you want to tailor a coverage towards Garrett Wilson, okay, well, here's Elijah Moore. Here's Braxton Berrios. We got Conklin, and we got 2 running backs that can catch out of the backfield. Yep. It's not – I mean, Garrett Wilson, I think today we'll see what Elijah Moore maybe has as an encore next week against Cincinnati. But I think it was clear that Garrett Wilson is probably the most talented wide receiver on this roster.
And
having a guy like – no, and it's not a slight at Elijah Moore either, because he's also super talented. But that's the thing. It's not one of those scenarios that I think we see a lot of teams have, where they have this super stellar guy, and then the drop off to number 2 is insane, and you're basically forcing it, kind of like the Cowboys, right? Where they have CeeDee Lamb, then the drop off to number 2. I mean, they're making plays now as we speak, but man, If this offensive line, we don't need it to be elite. We don't need them to be, this top 3 offensive line. If they can just make plays when they need to make plays and keep them in the game, this Jets team has a chance to be competitive.
We can be in a game with just about anybody. And that's all that we've ever wanted. We're not going to win every game.
And that's with Flacco. Like,
correct. That is with Flacco.
Who's to say, Zach Wilson doesn't come in and, put up a lot more numbers than that and looks a lot better than that, because Flacco throws the great ball, but we saw it today, the limitations on his athleticism outside of the pocket, which is fine, but it gets you very, very excited for the possibilities when Zach Wilson comes back. Because I do think before this week, we all kind of had this like fantasy of what we wanted the offense to look like, but we never really saw what it could look like. Now that we've seen it, things are going to get very, very exciting.
Correct. And I think it's an opportunity for a guy like Mike to continue stepping outside of like Jets land. Is something I like to do, right? Where we have our own bubble, how we view this team. I think I do this when I was thinking about Flacco. I do it when I was thinking about Elijah Moore a lot heading into the season, because we're obviously very, very high on him. And what made me more high on him was when I was like, oh, it seems like everyone around the league also thinks he's really, really talented, So I think I'm thinking about with that is like, Mike's probably not at the top of the list for becoming a head coach sometime in the near future, but he's getting there. So this, I think, is the next however many weeks of it is an interesting time for him to kind of make his resume and say, hey, here's who I am. Here's what I bring to an offense. Here's what I bring to a football team. So I think the next however many weeks are going to be really interesting to watch him really expand the playbook and really get into like the true Mike LaFleur shit. Like I want to see his stuff. So that's that. I want to make a couple more points and then I want to bring in Jay. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah, I think on the LaFleur thing is you have to build on this week. It can't be a
clean
really
up some
game,
things.
because we saw that last year. We saw it in the Cincinnati game, and then the Tennessee game where things were firing. We're all excited. We're fired up. And then it kind of just shrinks and it goes back to the same shit that we've seen over and over again. This is one of those games where it's great that you win. It's great that you won. And it's great that we saw what the offense could be. Now let's build on it. Let's keep doing those same things. And then when people come and, try to stop that, okay, we can build off of those things. We just want to see progression and consistency from this.
Yeah, look, like let's not act like the Jets are going to be world beaters here, right? Like, guess what the Bengals are going to do next week? They're going to shade onto Garrett. They're going to figure out a way to stop the run, and they're going to force Joe Flacco to beat them. That's not really a position that I necessarily want to be in, but that's probably what they're going to be looking to do, right? And one of the advantages is like, cool, you want to shade on Garrett? Guess what? Here's Elijah Moore. Here's Braxton Berrios. Like, here's Michael Carter. Here's Breece Hall. Yeah. So, like, that's like also a couple things I want to point out. Sorry, let me just get to the other points here. Number one,
a lot of points.
Breece Hall, what a catch. His touchdown catch, he looked like a wide receiver catching that ball. I thought that was very exciting and something to build on, because I think week one I was super down on his performance and I overreacted like I do. But he ran really well today, caught the ball really well today. It's interesting that he's in a true committee with Mike. I found that interesting. I think a lot of people thought that it would be Breece's role pretty much from the beginning. And Mike's performance so far has not led me to believe that they're going to take him out of the offense and give him less snaps. If anything, it'll probably be more snaps and less for Ty Johnson, maybe less reverses to Braxton Berrios, more Carter. I want more Carter. I want more Breece, because what they do works. So I'm excited about that.
Yep.
I want to say shout out to Braden Mann revenge game. Two of the most exciting plays the Jets have had in the last 10 years have been from a punter in the same game. That fake punt, epic. Threw a dot to Jeff Smith. Absolute dot. And then that onside kick was unbelievable. Shout out to Will Parks. Get on the ground, make a play, figure out a way to win the game. Love that forever. You'll always have my love. Another thing I want to point out is Brandon Echols played great today. I was excited.
Having to step up with Bryce Hall out.
Yeah, I thought that pregame the inactives came out and people were pretty confused by the Bryce for Echols switch.
Zach Wilson being out, of course.
Zach Wilson was a big one for people, and I think people were surprised to see Ruckert and Yeboah active. So like that was another one. We didn't really see much of Yeboah, did we, during the game?
No.
I think we'll see the snap counts later in the week. So I'm interested to see that. But I want to just give a lot of love to Braden, give a lot of love to Echols, give a lot of love to Will Parks. Like, those are the pieces. Those are the things that need to happen for your team to succeed. You need to make big plays in really big moments. And those three guys came up really, really big. I'm excited.
This was kind of like an FU statement from a lot of guys on this roster.
It was a big game, and they were talking about it like it was after the game too.
And I love that. I absolutely love that. I hate this so buttoned up. We see what you guys write. We're just here to win football. I love. The quotes from Michael Carter coming after the game being like, hey, you guys have probably experienced a lot of losing. That ain't my fault. I wasn't here 2 years ago. Like, we're just trying to win right now. I love that attitude. This whole same old Jets, the Jets, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're just like, nah, F that. Like, we're here to win now.
And even Mike was like, you guys overreacted after one loss. It's like, I understand why he's saying that. I think he also understands why I'm saying that. And it's just like one of those things where like, we're obviously going to be super sensitive. And he wasn't thinking of me specifically, of course, but like fans in general is like the sensitivity of fans is always going to outweigh it. And I think that's something that, like it or not, I'm always going to be like that. I'm always going to overreact and do things, but
that's what makes these moments so great. It's because we overreact to a loss like Baltimore and the sky is falling and, the fan base is, ripping at the seams. And then we have a win like this and we can come back and everything is just like, amazing, right? Like tomorrow waking up, it's going to be the best morning of all.
The Bengals suck. We're beating the Bengals. I don't care.
I mean, listen, if you think I haven't started looking at the schedule and started to, map my way into a wild card spot, division maybe. Haven't seen the Bills play. They play Monday night, but
we've always said that the front half of the schedule is tough, and it gets real interesting towards the back. So let's see.
Listen.
I want to bring in the pulse of the people. His name is Jason Koppel. It was his birthday this week. So make sure you give Jay some love on social. Yes. And we are here. Jay, talk to us.
We are in the hunt officially. And I also want to point out that 2 people on this wonderful podcast predicted this victory. One of us didn't. Don't worry, Greg. We'll get you to be a positive Jets fan by the end of this year.
That's right.
We'll get this together.
Right. But by the way, guess what? Like, we're all going to predict the Jets to blow out the Bengals on Sunday, and it's going to be a tough game. But that's fine. Here we are. Guys, Jay, talk to me about your biggest takeaways from the game.
Well, my biggest takeaway is Gab predicted 31-10 Browns, and that didn't exactly play out that way.
It was almost sneaky 31-17.
One team scored 31.
That's true.
I'll say that.
It's true. The over was the lock of the century in this game, by the way. I took the over before the game. I was feeling good, 38 points.
You know what's been an unbelievable lock? Tyler Conklin over 2.5 catches. Just saying.
Oh, yeah, you've been on fire with Tyler Conklin.
Lou with the Conklin bets.
It's an automatic bet. Like, I don't understand. Anyway, sorry, Jay.
They do love
Bezos over here.
But yeah, guys. Okay, so here's where I was at. I was in absolute pain, going through hell with Greg on DirecTV, the Sunday Ticket. Man, like it conked out right before halftime, so I missed that touchdown, and I was losing my mind, like trying to scramble to get, because I didn't know what to do with myself. I was freaking out. And we fortunately got, things settled at halftime, was able to watch the second half. But I've never in my life have I gone from a span of from such anger. Like I actually turned the game off at one, like after Nick Chubb scored that touchdown, I was like, eh. And then I got a text, like, I can't believe that they just threw a bomb to Corey Davis. And I was like, all right, I guess I got to turn the game back on now. So I actually missed that. And then I turned the game on in time for
You shouldn't have admitted that, Jay. What did you just say? You turned the game off?
I turned the game off, dude. It was over. It was under 2 minutes.
I gave up for a little bit.
I had Sunday Ticket. We had Sunday Ticket was back, so I decided to just kind of glance around and see what was going on in time to see Ryan Johnson's favorite quarterback, Tua, have the game of the best quarterback game in the history of football. I've never seen anything like that. So
Lance is done for the year, huh?
Done for the year. It's terrible, but I mean, good thing for them they held on to Jimmy G.
Yeah. Sorry, keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, anyway, so I turn it back on. We get the onside kick, and then things just get crazy. And Garrett Wilson, you guys are spot on with that. Like, what a pleasure to have a weapon like Garrett Wilson. I mean, 8 catches, 102, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, come on. Second game as a rookie. It just makes me even more angry they didn't play him in week 1. Like, what are we doing? Never, ever take that guy off the field. I don't care what he blocked. I don't care about his blocking. I don't care about any learning other positions. Just let the guy eat.
Can I pause you for 1 second? Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore are open every single play.
Every play.
It's insane. Every time the ball's thrown in the direction, wide open. There's no one there.
Flacco threw some wildly terrible passes early in this game, horrible passes.
I think the fake punt woke him up a little bit because he was a little bit different right after that fake punt.
He knew his job was in jeopardy with Braden Mann back there.
Yeah, Braden Mann.
He saw that dot and knew it was all over him if he didn't get it together.
Mike, he was worried about the wrong person. It ain't Zach Wilson or Mike White. It's Braden Mann.
But what a difference it made. So, I when we turned the game off for a minute there, I was in my head, we were 0-2, and I was thinking we're going to start the season 0-8, and it's going to be another one of those situations where everyone's crying for the coach and the GM. I would never do anything like that, but they're going to cry for people to get fired, and all that stuff. And I'm thinking this is going to be a nightmare. Now I'm exactly like Greg. I started looking ahead. I was like, well, we're going to knock off the Bengals on Sunday. We'll be 2-1. We'll be Dolphins will lose. We'll be all right. It's crazy. What a crazy swing of just emotions. And God, it felt good to get a win. I'll tell you that. That's the one thing I leave from this Sunday. I forgot what
an early season win.
Yeah, so win. Like a win while the season didn't matter because we were starting off 0-4 every season for the last 4 years. You couldn't enjoy a victory because you already were in the mode of all right, well, let's get, let's play for draft picks at this point. We're 0-4, we're 0-5. So when the last game that mattered that we won was the Darnold game, it's ridiculous to say, but we haven't had a win in 4 years that we cared about. So that's
that game starts the season off with a pick 6.
Yeah, but it felt good to get that win.
I was at that game.
Jamal Adams is freaking out, talking about how the culture's changed and we're different and all this stuff, and then went to hell.
Deleted it. Couldn't have deleted that tweet quicker.
Yeah. So I'm just happy. Tomorrow morning's going to feel nice. We're going to go watch all the football highlights tonight with a smile on our faces. We're going to wake up tomorrow, going to get into the morning meetings tomorrow, and it's going to be like, there's all our Jet fans and the family, and it's going to be good times. I'm excited.
Yep.
It's like that Rex quote, right? Like Victory Monday, the coffee tastes a little bit better, your wife looks a little bit hotter, the weather's a little bit better. That's like shit like that. Like it's so true.
Also, I got that cricket, and I'm making just absolute fire nowadays. We got the 137 on the sleeve. We got the Jets, old school Jets logo.
Yeah, Greg, you don't know about this. This is a classic Jason Cobble thing where like he just makes all this merch for himself that no one else gets. It's so classic. He's been making Card Talk merch that no one else has except for him for like 2 years now.
No, but I have the machine now, so we're good. We're gonna have Card Talk and just enough to suffer merchandise. Just like you guys don't even like just too much of it.
I need to find that video or that quote from Rex Ryan so I can like just read it tonight just to be happy. All right. So any other thoughts here? You don't want to put a bow on it?
Well, for Jay's thing, because like there was a point in the second half where I just texted our other group, Lou and Sean, where I was just like, just give me updates. I was defeated at that point. I went through so many streams. Sunday, I think I hit refresh on the Sunday
Ticket. Radio? Why didn't you guys think about radio?
Because it's 2022, and I'm not going to listen to it on the radio. I'd rather watch it.
Text updates are better.
Yeah. I'd rather have text updates than the radio. Although the Bob Wischusen calls were unbelievable, so I feel
unbelievable. But then there was a moment in the fourth quarter. I was like, all right, I had to take a step back. I'm going to try this one more time. Almost threw my remote through my TV. Finally found allegedly a stream on my computer to watch, and the rest is history.
It's been a wonderful day, boys.
Just so good.
Just to put a bow on everything, I think the key takeaways from this game are
touchdown. Joe Burrow. Yeah.
Oh, Bengals touchdown.
They're going to go for 2 to try to tie it up. I kind of want the Bengals to win this game low key because I don't want them coming in at 0-2.
I'm with you.
I don't want them coming in like desperation mode against the Jets in a get right game. I'd rather them, come in cocky at 1-1. I'm a little worried about them losing this game. So
I don't hate that take. It's a good idea. All right. So to put a bow on everything, get the ball to your playmakers. I apologize to Joe Flacco. I apologize to Robert Saleh. We're going to beat the fucking Bengals.
Yep.
Garrett Wilson is a wide receiver 1, and that's all I got.
Yeah, 0-2, 1-1. Fuck him. See you next week, Cincy.
Fuck them. See you Sunday.